freaking bad
I'm
at
awful,
this.
but I think I'm better than Paul, maybe. I'm a foosball. I don't know what this is. It's not legal. Oh,
Go!
so bad.
It's really hard, this game.
It is. Yeah, watch this move, though. You like that?
Woo! 4.
Go! Oh, it's horrible. Our Newburgh Brewing Company is located in Newburgh, New York, about 60 miles north of New York City. Well, I was a brewer down in New York City, so I lived there for a while, but I grew up in upstate New York. I always knew Newburgh. I love Newburgh. I think it was, I'd never thought of another place to open a brewery. Newburgh was it from the start. Glad we found a home where I wanted to be. I kind of got into better beer in probably my junior year of college. Me and my friends lived in an apartment that was right down the block from a bar in Boston that had about 120 beers on tap. I didn't know there were that many beers that existed. You know, before that it was beer pong in someone's basement. And actually my roommate has a British background. His family would come and we'd go to this bar and they'd show me all these British beers and, oh, well, there's this, and I used to drink this back home and whatever. And that was the first thing that, you know, enlightened me to what beer could be. This is Hoodie, our brewery cat. She is fat and happy. She does a good job. Keeps the mice away from the grain. Within the bones of a beautiful old factory building built around 1860, and we tried to transform it into, you know, a modern day tap room. We tried to keep the original character of a building that we love as much as possible. The space is about probably 5,000 square feet or so, all told. We have seats for probably 140 people. I love just seeing people enjoying themselves here. You know, it's really become, I think, a real community place. People gather, you know, it's a gathering place. And just sometimes when I'm standing by the bar or whatever and seeing the room full of people, it's a little bit of a pinch yourself moment of like, wow, they're drinking my beer. They all look like they're having fun. Like, you know. We made a place we want to hang out in, and it just found other people that felt the same way, you know, so it's really great. I've always been involved in sort of culinary things at home. I love cooking, and I sort of just had the idea, oh, I like good beer. I'd gotten into craft beer in college, started brewing at home. I was ready to find work, and I was lucky enough to land a job at Brooklyn Brewery in Williamsburg, New York. I started, you know, hauling bags of grain, taking out the garbage, cleaning kegs, filling kegs, all of the really grunt work. So Paul Halayko, me and him go way back. I've known him since we were probably 12 years old, in middle school. We were best friends then, continue to be so now. Am I gonna get a high score?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Wow. It lets you put in that much of your name?
It's the old games.
That's amazing.
Brewmaster #1.
Yeah.
Back then, you know, we played hockey together. So now he's, you know, I always call him, he's like my brewery wife, you know. I see him more than anybody, but we're lucky that we get along. We're on the same page. We really have the same vision for this place. When I first got into the beer industry, Paul did not like good beer. He was a macro lager drinking guy. I couldn't get him to come to visit me at the brewery I was working at for anything.
Like many American beer consumers, when I started drinking beer in college, I was just drinking light macro lager, and I never really liked the taste, but I was like, whatever, man, it gets the job done, so it's all good. I lived in Germany for a year and a half, specifically in Nuremberg, and while I was there, I learned that, wow, beer can taste really, really good. This is really good stuff.
Sir, you got the very, very last glass of Xylem ever, so there's no charge for that, and this is the Saison's 5.
I think it's important for an owner to be behind the bar whenever possible. It's a chance to interact with people that when they're coming in, show that the ownership here really cares about everyone's experience when they come to the tap room.
So we're down here in our brew house, the Newburgh Brewing Company. We removed the second floor of our warehouse building to increase the height. So we brought in all our tanks. We have 5 20-barrel tanks, 2 40-barrel tanks. We have a 20-barrel brew house here. At max capacity, we'd be able to brew about 5,000 barrels a year. Currently, we're about 2,000 barrels of production growing into it pretty rapidly. Some people don't realize there's a brewery down here. They think it's a 2-story building when there's 2 secret floors below them that house the heart and soul of the brewery. 20-barrel mash tun, 20-barrel lauter tun, and then our boiling kettle. Some breweries have 2 vessels, other breweries can even have more, but 3 is a pretty good number, and it allows us to do double batches a lot more efficiently. I've brewed personally every single batch we've ever done. If something happens to me, we're really screwed. Yeah, here we have our barrel aging area. These specifically are all sour beers, so they're going to have certain bacteria added, as well as wild yeasts. Everything from our cream ale with, this one has peaches and plums from a local farm. We got blueberries we went and picked ourselves from a local farm over in Washingtonville, our hometown. So there's things like that. We brewed an old school sort of real traditional porter. Today we're gonna be roasting pumpkins for our Squashtober beer. This year we were able to get this nice towable grill. We sort of used it as an oven and roasted a whole lot of pumpkins. So it's one of our most popular beers, and people just love the seasonality of it. Fresh local pumpkins, some nice natural charcoal. While the fire's getting hot over there, we're gonna start cutting our pumpkins up. Mostly we do it for space purposes. We cut the pumpkins in half, take out all the seeds. It's also easier to separate the flesh from the seeds when it's not cooked as opposed to once it's already cooked. And the cooking process is gonna allow us to take all that nice soft, the starches have been gelatinized that there are, nice and soft. It's gonna mix into our mash really well once it's already it's cooked. We'll usually line up as many as we can, and then they're gonna roast in the oven for usually about 4 hours. It takes a while. Caramelized on the outside, the skin will separate sometimes. Nice and soft. This is what you want. It's mashes right up. It's gonna be basically pumpkin puree. I really fell in love with the brewing process because I think it's still just as creative and able to be brought in any direction you want as, say, like cooking is, which was my first love.
So although we do operate a full bar restaurant upstairs, our main business is distribution. So roughly 80% of the liquid we make here at Newburgh gets distributed to bars and restaurants. When we pulled up all of the floor here because of the height of the tanks, all the floor joists that you see are now our tables and benches upstairs. So we actually built those ourselves. He approached me because he was thinking about opening a brewery in the Hudson Valley, specifically in Newburgh. And he showed me the business plan. We drove up here, we checked out our building that we're in now, and I said, I am in, let's do it.
I guess when I was really young, I didn't really know maybe the problems Newburgh had, but I knew we would drive through Newburgh or come to Newburgh for different businesses that were here, and really just loved the feel of it, to be super corny. It's a magical kind of place. It has a really good vibe. There's something about it. I guess I always felt that from a young age, and that's why in my mind, this was the only place to open this brewery.
If you were to go back to pre-Prohibition, the turn of the century, in the United States, every town had a brewery. And maybe they had 1, maybe they had 2, maybe they had 3. And breweries were a place that people came together, and they were also a place of community pride. I think right now, craft beer is being built on the movement of supporting local and supporting a local brewery. And that's what we're doing, and that's what we get back from the community here in Newburgh.
This is the result of the Squashtober. All those pumpkins, butternut squash, a couple weeks of fermentation and aging, and this is what we end up with. It's so good. It's everything the opposite of everything I hate about regular pumpkin beers. It's not sweet, super dry, but you get that flavor of that caramelized sugar. You can get that flavor in a beer without having the sweetness because of the fermentation process. Our version, my version of, a pumpkin beer that I love drinking every year. I look forward to it, so I kind of turn my least favorite style into really a beer I really love. People, for better or worse, have memories of cream ale. Like, oh, I love cream ale. I drank that. That was like my first beer I ever had.
Exactly. So many New Yorkers say that. It's delicious.
Good old cream ale.
That's kind of our flagship.
Oh, it's definitely. It's because it's easy drinking. It's and it's a very New York thing. I love that it's one of the few indigenous sort of styles to our area. I just want to have a nice, well-made, delicious beer, you know,
Right.
that's quenching my thirst and tastes good, and I'm hanging out with my friends,
Right.
and it's low ABV. I'm not gonna get shithoused.
In terms of future plans, I know we want to be bigger. One of the main reasons that we bought the building that we bought is because we wanted to be able to grow into it. So we just started canning, and we started canning with our cream ale. We're doing 16-ounce tall boy cream ale cans. Our ambitions ultimately are probably never to, say, ship beer to California, because craft beer is all about local, and we're not the local brewery in California, but New York is still a developing brewing state, and we feel like we can sell a lot of our beer here in New York State and then maybe slowly expand throughout the Northeast.
It's not like world domination or anything. I don't have any desire to send my beer to Europe or anything like that. If we can get to a nice size, maybe distribute, you know, most of the East Coast, the Northeast, you know, keep making interesting beers, you know, I'll be happy.